Welcome to the big show. I'm Chris Collins and this is Christian.
Hello everyone.
He's got the jokes, this guy.
It's gonna be a good
Non-stop jokes today. We're gonna talk about the difference between a manager and a leader, and we're gonna reference some of you in the audience that commented on a post we had on Facebook. We're also gonna talk about the news. It's gonna surprise you who's in the news. And then we're gonna tell you a story about a bean. That and much, much more coming up on Service Drive Revolution. Now, before we get to the topic of leadership today or the news, we should talk about what we did last weekend.
We went to one of my favorite cities on the planet.
A city you have a lot of experience with.
A city with broad shoulders. A city with wind.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Broad shoulders? I thought it was the Windy City. We went to Chicago.
Also the Windy City, the second city. I could go on. I could give you lots of different nicknames for it. But we went to Chicago. It was a really, really cool weekend. Had a lot of fun. Went to the Art Institute. But my favorite thing of all, and I didn't go do it. I didn't partake like some of the other members of our party did. But the bean is funny, right?
Funny how? How's that funny?
So first off, there was like...
Maybe we should give everybody context.
What context is overrated? Go ahead. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I was in Chicago for a meeting, and I went just on a whim because I had a day in between my meeting and flying to Florida to do the leadership stuff. And I went to the Museum of Contemporary Art there. I forget what it's called. And then I went to the Art Institute, which is top 10 museums in the world,
for sure.
Honestly.
Yep.
They do such a great job. And I understand most people here probably don't fancy art. I don't know, but I do. We are designing a library here in the building. The reason why Christian and I are in our conference room filming this right now is because the SDR set was in the room that we're building the library. So we're building a big state-of-the-art facility that is going to be where we host our leadership training, where we do videos. And when I was there in Chicago, I saw a art installation that was a retrospective by somebody by the name of Nick Cave, not the musician, believe it or not. It's
different Nick Caves.
Two different Nick Caves, not the musician, artist. And so I was so affected by it, and a couple other things there that were video, LED screens, stuff that we're doing here in the library, that when I got back, I was like, Christian, we need to go see it. So 7 of us went. So we took half the office. So we took, the crew basically, and our friend Eric, who is designing it. So many of you who have been to our old office remember my office, the unit that had the leather wall and was more of a cigar lounge. Eric Dixon designed that. He's helping us design this also, so we took him with us. And would you agree that what we saw you could not explain?
No, you cannot.
Also, it was coming down that Sunday. So we went Friday. We flew out Friday.
Yeah, day before.
We saw it Friday. We went back and saw it again Saturday. It was gone Sunday.
Yeah.
So
just
in the nick of time. But incredible, right?
Yeah, it was super inspirational, and I thought that it was really good for our production team, our marketing team, and Eric to see that, along with us, just because it's good to kind of get out of your normal rut of thinking.
Yeah, and so then also I took my fiance, and I like to include her in that stuff because then sometimes when I'm excited about something or I'm doing something, she doesn't understand what I'm doing and thinks I'm crazy, and so I thought it was important that she kind of see it so she's on the same page.
Yeah.
But one of the problems I have with her, one of the issues, deep-rooted issues,
so funny,
is she's a tourist.
Why is that so bad? I think it's great.
When we went to London for my 50th birthday, She wanted to go to the castle and see the
crown
jewels and
yep.
the whole thing. So then she saw this thing on social media or somewhere. I don't know. Where does she see this stuff? Because it caught me completely off guard.
Yeah, the bean's definitely a social media phenomenon.
So she says, we got to go see the bean. Meanwhile, we're in Chicago for basically like
36 hours-ish.
Yeah, we flew in. Besides like a couple meals, we were going to 2 places and that was it.
Yep.
And so we had Kevin with us who wants to go see baseball.
Yep.
So he wants to go see Wrigley Field.
He does.
Then she wants to go see the Bean. So we're at the Art Institute, and it ends up, I didn't know this, the Bean is across the street.
Yeah, you can almost see it from.
So I was like,
oh,
okay, here's an easy win. I'm like, hey, when we're done, we'll let everybody go. We'll walk over to see the Bean. And so it was packed with people.
Yep.
And basically, it's a big jelly bean made out of chrome.
Exactly.
And that's it. Like, I don't get it.
And I don't think people that want to go see it get it either. So I'm not exactly
Everybody's
sure.
just taking a selfie, and then you're in the selfie because it's a reflective, it's like chrome, it's a mirror.
Now, I will say I've seen pictures at night where the reflection gets like the cityscape in it. Those pictures look really cool.
That stuff is hilarious to me because I live by the pink wall, the infamous pink wall in Los Angeles. And all day long, truckloads of people are going to take their picture in front of a Pepto-Bismol pink wall.
It's one of the most selfied places in LA, right?
Maybe the world.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and it's just a pink wall. Most people don't even know that it's a clothing store, that it's Paul Smith. Most people have no idea. They just think it's the pink wall. Tour buses drop people off there. They take their picture in front of it, get back on the bus, and who knows where else they go. So the Bean is kind of like that, is it's like this thing, I get it. Maybe the lesson is we should have that in a service drive for people to come.
Something to a selfie place? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
But it was a fun trip.
I'm really glad we went.
Yeah.
It was cool.
It was hard to put that into words, and I want to do more of that.
Well, I was thinking every time we do a little thing like that I wish it was longer, but at the same time, the condensed trip forces you to like really appreciate every minute. Like everything's really, really intentional. It was another thing that was interesting that happened there is that I went into Chick-fil-A and I ate a kid's meal. And it was fine, but I couldn't believe how mad that kid's mom got at me.
That's hilarious. And we did really go to Chick-fil-A, so you had me for a second. But I was trying to think, what did you order? And I didn't remember. I thought you had a sandwich.
Chicken sandwich, I think?
Yeah. We did go to Chick-fil-A.
I got it.
You did. That was great. I do want to take caution Kevin to London.
Yeah.
There's so many cool films there that I would love for them to see, and just art installations.
Yeah.
So you want to get to the news?
You know what? I can't. I have to start off with our friends at
You got a big stack.
I do. I got a lot of news here. So,
but you know what's funny is I was on a call earlier with a manufacturer that we are doing something with. We won't say what. And in that, they pointed out that they are not Ford and that they value their dealers.
Because Ford's such a punching bag for us?
Is Ford a leader, or are they just blowing it up?
They're an interesting brand right now. But with that in mind, Ford's latest supply chain problem, they've got a shortage of the blue oval badges. U.S. automaker held back shipments of some vehicles because of difficulty getting model nameplates and company logos. In related news, I was able to find these logos online at Amazon, and I can get them delivered tomorrow, free with Prime.
So somebody at Ford needs an Amazon Prime account.
That's right.
And all their supply issues are fixed.
Everything will be fixed. Leave
That's
it to
funny.
Bezos. So I thought that was hilarious.
That is hilarious.
So they can't get all the emblems. It's hilarious. And I actually...
Do you think the part number is the same on Amazon as it is in a Ford parts
So
department?
it's funny. I took a screenshot, but maybe we can show it. But it looked like a Ford part number. So I actually...
That's hilarious.
I don't know what to say other than prime.
That's great.
But this was also pretty funny. So Faraday, which is one of kind of like our pop-up electric companies.
Electric car company?
Yeah. Faraday's executive chair exits EV company, citing death threats. 2 additional board members stepped down this week, along with executive chair Susan Swenson, the company said Thursday in a securities filing. He was appointed to serve as an interim non-executive chair. So what I'm going to say to Adam is I'd recommend you stay 214 miles away from anybody, because they'll never catch you, because they'll run out of charge.
Why are people threatening to kill people on the Faraday board?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because of the whole, it's the ICE/EV conversation that's happening with...
What's ICE mean?
Internal combustion engine.
But why not Elon Musk? Why Faraday?
Oh, no, I have to guess that Elon gets a couple of death threats every day.
Oh, he's just not scared?
Yeah, he's just, I don't think that he cares.
So
that
people
much.
are threatening electric car companies?
Yeah. So it says, that there's campaigns out there to kind of blackball these executives of the car companies, and that they're fearing for their lives.
Do you think this is like a UAW thing?
Oh.
Because most of these aren't union.
No, not at all. But it could be. It doesn't allude to that in this article, but that's a pretty interesting thought.
I've had some threats from unions before.
Yeah. The funny thing is that I think that you make the lives of the people much better whenever you've gone into a store and done some union stuff. They end up winning at the end of the day.
This was in construction, not car stuff. I've had in the car thing, I've had okay experiences, but in construction, when you're building a big building, the unions will come after you and say you should only use union
material or workers or whatever it is. Yeah.
But that, you're talking about electrical, concrete, they want you to commit.
Yeah, this funny how
and
different
they're very firm
sometimes. Yeah.
I'm not going to be intimidated by that.
No.
If that's how I'm going, I guess.
No, but I think that a lot of people are. I mean, it's interesting to see how the unions work within different industries for sure. It's not just about us. And in other news, Ford. We got Ford again. Their Ford's electric F-150 Lightning truck gets a higher starting price again. So
they're raising the price?
Yeah. You want to know what they blamed it on?
What?
Supply chain issues.
Well, the emblem.
Yeah. Those emblems, you can't find them. You can't find them anywhere.
Yeah.
They're not out there. It's so funny.
So how much are they raising it?
So now the new price tag for the 2023 F-150 Lightning Pro, $51,974.
From what?
It was under 50 before, yeah. So it started out
still a great deal.
$46,974. So it's
still
gone
a great
up
deal.
$5,000.
I don't think that's gonna. I think they could raise the price another 10,000 and they would sell every one of them.
I think you're probably right. And pretty soon they probably won't be selling them at the dealerships either, right?
I would love for my mom to get one of those. I wonder how they are in the snow.
That's a really good question. I would guess that, like with the way that the base is on electric cars, that weight distribution is really nice. So it's going to have really good grip.
I wonder.
I bet it would. I just think that the best thing that Ford did with that is the way that they did the advertisements on how it can power your house in the if there's a blackout.
Yeah.
I think that really raised everyone's ears a little bit to pay attention. So that was really good. But that's my news for the day. 2
Ford stories and a death threat.
Yeah, it really it was good. We continue our topic of death.
So our team here was pointing out how many comments this post on Facebook was getting, and the headline was, "What distinguishes a leader from a manager?"
Oh, that reminds me of a story. So there's this guy. He goes to a leadership convention, right? And sometimes when you go to these conventions and you come home and you're just really, really amped up. And that's what happened to this guy. Let's call him Bill. I like to call people Bill. So Bill's like all amped up, and he gets together with his team on Monday morning. He's like, guys, I went to this leadership experience. It was the most amazing thing of my life. And the team's like, oh yeah, right. He's like, I just want to know. I want to let you all know, this door is open. If you have questions or you guys need anything you want to talk about, even the littlest thing, I'm here. I'm here to listen, because I know that to be a good leader, I've got to communicate and we've got to have trust. He lets everybody go. Hour goes by, nobody goes into his office. And another hour goes by. Guy kind of like, he walks past Bill's office a couple of times, but you can see like he's wanting something, right? So finally Bill's like, hey, come on in. And it's Joe. And Joe's like, hey boss, I'm really glad that you've started this open door policy because I've got a problem. And Bill's like, no, Joe, you don't have a problem. We don't see problems. We see opportunities. And Joe goes, okay, Bill, I've got a drinking opportunity.
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
You could have worked in a couple more leadership cliches. Don't you think?
I hit a bunch of them though.
Yeah. Open door policy, trust fall.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. So you want to start with that?
Yeah. So what distinguishes a leader from a manager, Christian?
You got to wake up to get up.
That you do. So there's a bunch of good ones on here, a bunch of good comments.
Yeah, I highlighted a bunch that I thought were just good comments. First off, I would say just the dialogue in general in this conversation was really, really good.
This is on Facebook.
Yeah, so the first thing that I did that I liked and maybe just kind of had a twist on was from Jesse, who said, I've had managers that just sit in their office and don't have a clue what's going on. The best managers I've had were working right there with us. I have a couple managers I'm super close to, ones I've worked with, and some that I've had that never worked at all, right? So essentially that was kind of like the getting your arms dirty and everything like that. And my question to Jesse would be is that, I'd be curious of what happened first. Did you connect with them and you liked the manager, or did you just start to like them because they were out there working with you? Because there are some times when, I think about managers, if they're doing too much of the stuff, they're not actually leading the team, right? So I wanted to kind of throw that out there, but I like that the managers he's super close to a couple of them, because I think that's a key, is building relationships with your team.
I thought this one was interesting, and I didn't know that a manager's job was to kill or murder, but Nicholas Thorpe says, a manager executes, a leader inspires.
So, yeah, if we take like the death connotation out, but just be aware it's there. My thing with that is that, I don't know, I've seen plenty of managers that can't execute, and that's why they're not leaders. What do you think about that?
I agree.
I also wanted to read, so it was Carl Sagan, and I know this, you might think this is a joke, but that reminded me of something that Carl Sagan said. He said, anytime I talk to a manager, I feel like they're important. Anytime I talk to a leader, I feel like I'm important.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
You totally thought that was a joke, didn't you?
Darren, you never know with you.
Yeah, I understand.
Darren McLee? How would you say that?
McLee.
Darren McLee says, managers contemplate the difference between being a manager and a leader. Leaders ignore the whole conversation, just get back to working with their people towards improvement and success.
I like it.
What other ones on here?
Did you get, I liked Lance's. So Lance Lissitar, he says that should be one and the same. If your manager isn't a leader, you have an issue. Sounds pretty straightforward, but I think he's right.
A lot of these, though, are about caring for each other, about empathy, about respect. And so I find when people answer these sort of questions about, a leader cares for people, or a leader has empathy or whatever, that really is more of a indicator of what you're desiring,
Right.
not creating an effective outcome. Right? It's a kind of a self-indulgent answer. Is that the way you'd say that?
Well, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it is how we make other people feel from a leadership perspective.
Robert Corbett said, I wish I could have got to Expo this training. What does that mean?
I don't know.
What's Expo mean? I could have.
I thought that was when you got everybody together in a big building.
To Expo this training.
Yeah.
What training is he talking about?
I don't know. But I also liked Haley, who said, no idea. With there's like a smiley face, and then there's the emoji where it looks like they're laughing, but there's also water coming out of the eyes.
Crying.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's a happy emoji or.
I think she's making fun of us.
Yeah, probably.
Deb Stambaugh said, a manager tells people what to do. A leader stands beside you and helps and isn't afraid to work also. A leader will not ask you to do something they wouldn't do themselves. Maybe.
I think the spirit of that's really good, but we could come up with examples where it's not true.
I feel like, the mafia comes to mind. And the hitmen are there for a reason.
Yeah. There's certain jobs.
Yeah. Right? Daniel Lopez Arias.
Oh, I like your accent.
Arias.
Yes.
A leader will allow the ones he manages to perform the job they were given. Let them take responsibility for their work. When they are stuck or need help, the leader steps in and helps solve a problem and give an answer. It's a very sweet. Somebody in here, I forget where it was, I commented on it. They said something about behavior, which I thought was insightful. Yeah. This one, Joseph Fury. A manager is a position to which one is granted authority to direct subordinates. A leader influences behavior to encourage others to follow them or work towards a goal.
That's good.
So, at the end of the day, I think leadership is probably two things.
Okay.
Affecting the behaviors of others and assuming all responsibility.
Yeah. You know what's
so
funny?
Most of the time a manager is going to deflect and say, well, my boss or the market or whatever. A leader is going to accept all responsibility up and down the chain, and then they're going to understand psychology, behavior, and how to get people to do what it is they need to do.
I like it. I did a whole thing like a managers versus leaders, and that kind of goes right into that. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So it's a chart. On the left side you have managers, and on the right side you have leaders. Are these characteristics?
Maybe some of them for sure. I think that you'll...
Are any of them a joke?
Not on this page. I've got other jokes.
Other leadership jokes?
Potentially. But I'll list it and then maybe you unpack it. Okay. So if I think about a manager is in what we kind of determine to be a closed loop system. Leaders seem to create an environment to encourage success and growth. And then I put in parentheses, concrete versus clay.
Yeah, so to unpack that, most of the time, and take for example our industry, what we're doing is pretty much a closed loop system in the sense that the process is the same, the input and the output is the same. What a leader will come in and do is say, well, the input is the input, maybe, but let's change the output, let's change the outcome, and let's change the outcome by changing this system, our approach, let's be open to change, let's evolve. let's break this and make it the best it can be instead of trying to protect it and hold it and avoid change.
Yeah, I think change is the enemy of the closed loop system.
Yeah, and a manager to some degree is just the nature of a closed loop system. The manager is trying to avoid change.
Yeah.
They're trying to create consistency.
Yeah, that's good. See, that was unpacking.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I travel a lot. I can unpack.
Oh yeah, I would say that we're
professionals.
Yeah,
we could have a whole channel of us just giving tips on how to travel.
Yeah. I was with Angel and one of our marketing guys who's
a kid. He's a kid.
21 years old. Probably one of the, like, if my kids are like him, I did a good job. Basically,
for
kind of
sure.
Where I'm at.
He's a sweetheart.
And he's like, oh man, I got to run to the front desk and get toothpaste. So I'm like, no. So I flip him a little because I always carry an extra toothpaste with me. Because I know if I have two and I forget one, I still have one. So I always have an extra those little travel boxes of toothpaste. He's like, oh, that's great. And the whole 2 days we were together, I keep giving him travel tips. And he's like, wow, you're really good at this. I'm like, oh yeah. Not always because I am good at it, it's because I screwed stuff up and then you learn not to do things anymore. But I would say that we're probably A-level travelers.
Yeah. And we have a backup to the backup.
Always have a backup to the backup. Exactly like, right.
I know how to carve a collar stay or put on a button.
That's right. I can sew.
I can make a shoelace out of a bed sheet.
Now you're getting a little MacGyvery on me. That's good. So getting back to our list, my next thing that I have written down here is managers take credit, leaders give credit.
I heard an amazing quote the other day, and I think it was one of our former presidents. I won't even guess, but back a ways, said, imagine what we can accomplish if we weren't trying to get the credit.
Wow.
I know.
I have no idea who said it, but I really like that.
President something.
Yes.
Maybe Eisenhower or something. But imagine what we could accomplish if we weren't looking for credit.
That's good. I love it. So I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but the one thing I probably didn't put in there, and I think you said it already, is that when it does go down and it does go really bad, one thing that's really consistent with great leaders is they take responsibility for the bad stuff.
Yeah. One situation I didn't agree with that.
Okay. Which is?
When I was at the last Super Bowl the Seahawks were in.
Yes.
And Russell Wilson threw an interception at the very end of the game to lose the game.
And who was the running back for that team?
Well, he had a nickname, the Beast.
What was his average yards per carry that season? 17, 18?
More than we needed to get in the end zone.
Yep.
Marshawn Lynch. But he threw an interception. Russell Wilson did. He threw an interception, and at the end of the game, Pete Carroll, the coach, took responsibility for the play call, which is I know that's in leadership books. I know, but the truth is, Russell threw an interception.
Yeah, that Russell threw it at the end of the day. Okay.
Now, we could have called a run play. It's true.
Yeah. I might have called a run play with Marshawn in the backfield. But, hindsight's always 20/20. So
well, you had a timeout and you had a down to burn.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah.
So all you had to do is throw a touchdown or an incomplete pass, and you still had another play.
You still could run Marshawn.
You probably had two.
The next thing. Oh my gosh. I forgot that part of that detail.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking to be a Seahawks fan.
It was in that moment.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about in our comparison of managers versus leaders is that managers assume that every scenario has to be win-lose. Leaders are looking for the win-win.
Yes, I like that. There's duality to everything. It doesn't have to be that somebody has to lose for you to win.
Yeah.
Everybody can win.
Well, as a matter of fact, I would say that in our business, we're looking for the triple win, right? So the business should win, the customer should win, and the employees win. And we've set that up many times.
Yeah.
I think that it's almost not doing if everybody can't win. So the next thing I've got in here, and this is consistent of those that identify as just a manager, is they've got this ridiculous fear of failure. I also almost put down here they also have fear of success, but that's probably a whole different conversation.
Well, I think fear of success is worse than fear of failure and more common.
And then leaders look at both failure and success as a teacher. Like you learn from the success, you learn from the failure, but there's nothing to be afraid of at the end of the day.
Yeah. If you lose, what could you have done different? And if you win, is it scalable or did you get lucky?
Yeah. Those are phenomenal questions. And then the last one that I've got down here, and I did this broad on purpose. Managers are waiting for it, leaders are taking it.
Yeah. I think there's one other one.
I'm ready.
Is listening.
Yeah.
I think that leaders are good listeners. Managers usually talk.
Yeah.
But you never learn anything by talking. You never learn anything by talking. You learn way more by listening. And by learn, I mean understanding where people are at, what they're thinking, how they're trained, what their trauma is, what their issues are, their insecurities. You're not going to learn any of that if you're just talking. You can't impose your will on people.
Yeah. Yeah, you could make a case that the less you talk, the better a conversationalist someone thinks you are.
Yeah, I think that happens frequently.
To you, for sure. Yeah.
And people tell me stuff that they probably shouldn't tell me.
Yeah,
it's also funny, because it just happened, and you witnessed it. People think I agree with them.
Which you were, in that particular case, I would say that you might not.
Most of the time I don't.
Yeah.
But I just haven't said anything. So people think I agree with their crazy views on stuff.
Yeah, they impose their views on you. That's super interesting.
And also I've made them feel comfortable enough that I think people, because I don't put up resistance, they assume that I'm agreeing. But I'm more curious about why people have their cockamamie ideas about stuff or opinions that if I put up resistance, they're going to close up and leave. If I have them open, then I can start to understand how they developed these patterns or these opinions that are so counterproductive to their success.
Yeah. One of the things I think you do that's really helpful, which is a good lesson for leaders, is the way that you do a follow-up question, right? So I think that's a skill. Maybe it's been natural for you. Maybe you've always done it. But you'll ask someone a question, and they give you the response. Then you ask a follow-up question based on the information they gave you, which then makes the person think that, oh, he listened to what I'm saying. And then by the third question, you're getting really, really deep stuff. Whereas I think a lot of people are just kind of like, hey, how are the kids? And then they stop. They don't say the follow-up questions. Right?
Yeah, I would say step 2 or 3 is you need to validate. And I saw that when I was an advisor, because when I was asked to do advisor training, I paid attention to what I was doing, and then I literally would stand in the drive and watch the lowest performing advisor we had.
Yeah.
And most of my conversations were about, I would look to find something that I could compliment them on. So whether it was the car they had or the outfit they had or the wheels or the sticker or something, I could always find something to say like, oh, I really love the color, or, it would have to be genuine. Like I would look for something I was genuinely going to compliment. I wasn't making it up. And then that would break the ice. And then I would say, well, where are you headed today? And then, most of the time it was work, right? Or kids or something. And then I would ask about that. And then you validate whatever it is. So if they say like, oh, I'm going to work. Well, where do you work? I work at Microsoft. Oh my God, that must be exciting. Like Microsoft's growing like crazy, Oh, it is crazy, blah, 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 blah. So how long have you been there? And then you keep going. And the other thing is when people give you a one-word answer, I didn't stop. So if you say like, how are you doing today? Fine. most advisors are like, oh, he doesn't want to talk, or he's in a hurry, or whatever. I'd be like, where are you headed today? Oh, what do you do? Like, I wouldn't give up on it.
Yeah, sometimes you can't knock the wall down with one punch, right?
Yeah, that's a good way
Thanks.
to put it. So
yeah, it's kind of like
I'm genuinely curious about people, I think.
Yeah, there's no doubt about
that. Did I just
that.
mess up? You were going to segue into a joke.
No, I'm going to segue into a joke either way, but that was a really good point, right? Is that natural curiosity, I think, is what's taken you quite a ways.
Yeah, I'm not looking to impose my will so much on people, and often I have conversations with people, and after I'm like, shut up. That's the conversation inside my head to myself.
Just let them talk.
Yeah, like nobody cares. Nobody cares about your childhood or that you played soccer, that you went to Chicago to see art, or
a bean,
the
a metal bean,
or that you went to the Morgan Wallen concert. Did we talk about that on the show?
I don't think so.
How amazing was that?
Best concert I've ever been to.
Yeah.
I was like a 13-year-old.
How long ago did I get those tickets? Like 4 months ago?
Yeah, and
I think the day they announced it, I went on and I bought the tickets. They were incredible tickets. They were in the pit, which basically.
So I was at the stage, like I got to the stage and I didn't move because I didn't.
It was fun hanging out with you.
I'm sorry.
But it was incredible.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. You have to tell them the part too, though. Well, I'll tell it for him. But up until 2 days before, he actually thought he wasn't going to get to go to the concert.
Yeah, because I had a speaking thing in Texas that we'd agreed to. And
I was so happy when you texted me and said you're getting to go.
Because you know what happened was I looked at the calendar, and I didn't have anything on there. I buy the tickets. Well, sometimes in the office, they don't put things on the calendar when they're supposed to.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Then they put it on there, and then they don't even come and say, hey, by the way, you know that concert you thought you were going to go to? No, you're in Texas. You agreed to this thing.
Yeah.
They don't even do that. I had to figure it out on my own. But it ended up I flew back that day. So I spoke, hopped on a plane, came back, went to the concert.
Yeah.
And man, how fun was that?
It was really, really cool. Morgan puts on a great show, great songs. Everybody's
I've been
singing
listening
along.
to those albums since too.
Monday morning, I walk in and Chris has got it blasted. It was so funny.
So fun.
I think I had started to I downloaded the opening bands too, which I thought they've got some chops too, so that was a lot of fun.
Hardy and Ernest?
Ernest, yeah. So Ernest co-writes a lot of songs with Morgan, and then Hardy's he's respectable in his own right. He's got a couple of great songs out there. So.
Hardy's actually written, I think, more.
More for him? Okay.
They're part of that little mafia, the Florida-Georgia line. Their managers are kind of doing what Geffen did in the...
Yeah, it's a good business model.
Yeah.
It works.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to this edition of Service Drive Revolution. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.